Hi everyone, it's Kylie from Painted Wing. I thought I'd create a video just sort of updating what's going on. I recently went full-time with my art business, and I also moved back to Minnesota. I'd been living in my hometown after the pandemic, but my husband and I wanted a change of pace, and we had the opportunity to rent out a lake house for the next year. I'm both excited and a little anxious about how things will work out, but I'm just going to take things a day at a time. Here's some footage from the first few weeks here. With all the unpacking, I haven't had too much time to start painting, but I did get some new stickers in. I got some new stickers from my shop that I thought I'd show you. I ordered these from the company sticker app. I have some new birds like this barn owl here, a red-headed woodpecker, and I even got some holographic stickers. I've also been working on creating some quick 8x8 bird studies. Whenever I'm not sure of what to paint, I always like to go back to creating studies like these. If you follow me on Instagram or Facebook, I posted some short videos of me painting these birds. At the end of this video, I'll have a little demo on how to paint one. So here's the eastern bluebird I thought I'd give a quick demo of. The full tutorial will be on Patreon. I've been seeing a lot of these guys flying around lately, so I decided I wanted to paint one. I'm painting this piece on 8x8-inch watercolor paper by the brand Arches. You can see the sketch I have drawn out. For this painting, I'll be starting with the beak using cadmium yellow paint. While it's air drying, let's work on the eye using the same brush and raw umber paint. Keep your paint saturated, and paint a line around the outside diameter of the eye. I apologize for the blur here. I left the autofocus on my camera on accident. Now let's let the eye dry, and while it dries, we'll be adding some Payne's Gray to the beak and then the pupil. You'll use a similar technique here. Outline the beak with a thin, crisp line. After the outline is created, dip your brush into water and blend out the line into a gradient. Next, add some gray to the lower beak and then a little where the pupil will be. Next, add some gray to the lower beak and then a little to where the pupil will be. I'm adding a thin line of gray here. After the light gray paint dries, get your small brush saturating Payne's Gray. It should be so saturated that it appears black. And then create a ring around the eye. After creating the ring, add some small tick marks. Next up, we'll be switching brushes. This here is a number 8 round brush. Add some water to the chest of the bluebird. Next, dip your brush into burnt sienna paint and add it to the water. While the wash is still wet, I'm dragging out tiny hairs along the neck. In order to control this process, I'm using a blow dryer to dry the paint a little. Then I'm adding a few drops of water to create blooms in the wash. This will create an uneven texture. If you prefer a flat, smooth wash, you may skip this step. Keep splashing in clean water until you get the desired effect. You can also splash some orange or brown paint onto the wash if you like splatters. For the next part, I'll be using Antwerp Blue and creating tail feathers using my number 8 round brush. If you're unhappy with the shape, you can always paint it out a little more, as I am here. Next, let's paint the wing. For the wing, we'll be keeping things impressionistic. In order to do this, quickly move your brush to create feather-like marks. I'm intentionally leaving some white space. If you aren't a fan of that look, you can fill it in. The next step is to add the same blue to the head of the Bluebird. Follow the outline you drew and start filling it in using a wet on dry technique. While things are still wet, you can dab in some extra blue to the areas that you feel need it. Also, add a light touch of gray in front of the eye. The final steps are just a few details. I'm going to paint in a light impression of a foot. The legs I am painting are going to be pretty impressionistic as well, but if you want to make them fully detailed, or even add a branch or something, you may. I prefer my pieces to be pretty minimalistic, and I'm not a fan of backgrounds, but everyone has their preferences. I'm creating some little lines here with my gray for the foot. And a little splash of gray paint. Look over your painting and see if you need to add anything. Otherwise, that should be it. Thank you so much for watching. If you decide to paint this piece, I would love to see it. You can tag me on social media at PaintedWing.